Hi guys, my name's Craig. Welcome to Small Farmer Life. Well, 2021's here and 2020's behind us, and we couldn't have had a worse year. Well, let's hope 2021 is better, and it's absolutely freezing. Can you see that? That ain't smoke, that's the cold. Well, I'm in my stable and I thought I'll kick off the new year with talking about some of the biggest mistakes that small farmers make. Now, I'm going to talk about these in no particular order, but first, I'd like to thank all you guys who've subbed to the channel because we've passed the 1,000 mark, and as I promised, I ain't going to stick no adverts on this channel because I wouldn't make any money from it anyway, and I don't want to spoil the videos. But I'd like to thank all you guys and all the questions you've given me, and I hope you've learned something from some of the videos that I've put up. Now guys, some of the biggest mistakes people make when they're looking to go into small farming or they're looking to purchase a piece of land is when they go to purchase a piece of land is not doing the correct checks. And when I mean checks, I mean like going out when it's raining, making sure you're not buying a floodplain for starters, and also making sure you can do what you want to do on that piece of land. So let's say you wanted to raise micro pigs and sell pure breed micro pigs or something like that. Well, there could be a covenant on the piece of land. It could have been put on there 10 years ago, and if you purchase that piece of land, you'd also have to go into that covenant. It passes on to you, and you have to agree not to actually raise pigs on that piece of land. Or it could be something like you can't build a barn within a certain distance of a property, and you might be thinking that's an excellent place for a barn, but you don't find this out until you're going through the motions of purchasing the land. But you could find it out if you just done a few checks in the beginning. So make sure you do all the checks before you actually purchase that piece of land to make sure you can actually farm what you want to farm. And another thing I would really not recommend to anybody going into small farming, and that's getting into debt. Now that's whether you're going to be purchasing the land by borrowing money. I wouldn't suggest that. And even machines, borrowing money or getting machines on finance, because I've seen people who've got 4 or 5 acres get a quad on finance. Well, 4 or 5 acres you can walk it, and it's going to keep you fit and healthy. So why would you buy a quad to get around 4 or 5 acres? Yeah, you might feel good for a week or so, but you'll soon be gutted when you're paying them payments out every month. And if you're borrowing money to actually purchase the land, then that is a big thing to be doing, especially if you're borrowing something like 25,000, 30,000 pounds. The repayments on that are going to be quite substantial. And if you haven't got a really good job and you're planning on keeping that job to make them payments, well, a farm isn't going to give you back profit in the first year. So I would always suggest purchasing land with savings that you've got, or you might have an house that you've had for 20 years on a mortgage, and you might have equity in that house. And if you want to take out some of the equity in the house to purchase a piece of land, well, you can do that and then keep your job while you're building up your farm, and then you can still pay off your mortgage, and your land's never going to lose money, so you can guarantee that. And once you've built your farm up, sell your house, and then you can move on to your farm because you can get rid of your mortgage and you'll be mortgage free. So don't get into any debt when you're starting a small farm. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Save up, use the cash that's available, keep your job until you get your farm up and running and you start actually making some income from your farm. Another thing that people don't understand is what it entails to be a farmer, because it's actually pouring down outside now, and you're going to have to be out in all weathers 365 days a year. And this morning there was snow on the ground and I still had to go out and feed my birds. You're not going to be able to lay in bed nice and warm like I'd like to be at this moment. You're going to have to be out there in all weathers, 365 days a year. And another thing you're going to have to be, and that's a jack of all trades, because if you are getting people in to do every single thing around your farm, I am telling you now, it's going to cost you tens and tens of thousands of pounds. Now, if you're buying a bare piece of land, then you want to learn yourself how to do anything on your farm. And you can easily do that by watching YouTube channels and reading books. And you can find diagrams of all sorts of things that you might want to build around your farm. Now, if you're watching YouTube channels on, let's say, somebody building a fence because you want to put a fence up, well, you'll know who the people that are doing it right are because you can read in the comments. And in the comment section, if they're doing it right, you'll get lots of comments saying, excellent job, great craftsmanship and all that sort of thing. And if they're doing it wrong, you'll get loads of comments saying cowboys and all that sort of thing. So it's easy to see who's doing it right and to see who's doing it wrong. Now, you might think, well, it'll take me ages to do it. Yes, it might take you quite a while and longer than a professional, but you'll be learning something new. And it won't be as hard as you might think. These stables I'm sitting in now cost £8,000 in materials. But if I'd have got someone to build them, it would have cost around £30,000 to £40,000. So I saved that amount of money, £30,000, by building them myself. And I've never built anything like this in my life. Yes, I do construction, different things like fitting places out, drywalling and that sort of thing, but actually building a physical building, I've never done it. But if you're good at DIY, you'll be able to do lots of things around your farm on your own. And you can do fencing, you can build buildings, you can build barns. You'll be shocked how much you can do, but it might just take you a little bit longer than a professional. And another thing that people don't realise when they start a small farm, especially when they're starting it from scratch, is you've got to go into that small farm as a business. Because if you don't go into it as a business and you're buying a bare field and think you're going to be able to live on it, well, no council is going to let you live on that piece of land if you just think you're going to start a small holding, let's say get a couple of goats, a couple of chickens, and then plant some veg, just so you can feed the family, that sort of thing. You need to have a business plan in action so you can show the council the reason you need to be on the land and why you need your own home on the land. And then they'll give you so long to actually live in a caravan so you can prove that your business works. Now, I did see, or well, I read an article, a blog post on the 10 most profitable things to grow on a farm. Now, I read the article and then I read some of the comments. And one of the things that the guy said is most profitable to grow was microgreens, which is a really good crop to grow and you can get really good money for it. But the comment in the actual comment section said you can kiss goodbye to microgreens unless you're Curtis Stone, who's got loads of millionaire buyers to sell to. Well, Curtis Stone does grow microgreens, but Curtis Stone knows how to market them. And he started from nothing, so he grows in people's gardens, which has helped him to purchase his own house because he knew how to market and he learned marketing. And that's what you're going to have to do as a small farm and starting a small farming business, is marketing to the right people, which we're going to do videos on in the upcoming weeks and months. But being jealous over what people are doing and saying you can't do it is not the way to go about it. What you need to do is find your target market, and we're not talking about people who are going to supermarkets. You can't compete with people who are going to supermarkets. You have to basically educate your customers on why your produce is better than the supermarkets. And that's where you're going to be going to farmers markets and have your own website, and you're going to be educating your customers that way. And you'll be surprised how much money you can make in one day at the farmers market. Now, I have a friend who lives just about 100 yards that way, and he has a little workshop in the back of his one-bedroom converted horse stable bungalow, and he does woodworking, and he goes to the beach, finds some wood on the beach, driftwood, and he makes things like chopping boards, and he uses bent spoons and things like that for the handles, and he makes around £700 from a farmer's market in one day. And he builds everything in his little workshop in his house. Now, it costs him nothing for materials, but yeah, it takes him a little bit of time. But £700, and he only probably takes about 2 days to make the things that he's going to sell at the farmer's market, is not bad for somebody who's just doing it in the back of his house. So if you're growing produce on your farm and you're picking it daily and selling it to the right customers who've got disposable income, and we're not talking about, like I say, people who are bargain hunters, we're talking about people who actually are looking for fresh as can be anyway, produce, and know a little bit about food and want it maybe to do some cooking for some dinner guests that they're going to have at the house, and they're going to the farmer's market to actually purchase this produce. And like I say, jealousy over what people are getting for theirs is not going to help you in any way. So you need to make sure you're looking at your farm as a business and you're growing the right type of produce. And we'll have a video talking about what you can grow on your small farm that'll make you good money. Because if you're watching videos in other countries, like in America, of what they're growing and what they're selling, well, they have different tastes to what we do in the UK. So you need to make sure you're watching UK growers and UK channels so you understand what you can get for your produce. Just make sure you're going into the farming business as a business, not as a small holding for you and your family, because if you do that, you'll never get the chance to live on a bare piece of land that you've turned into a farm, because the council won't allow it unless there's a business running from that piece of land. Understanding what things cost to build. So you might purchase a piece of land and think, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to put this here, I'm going to put that there. Well, sometimes you get a good kick up the backside when you actually see the cost of things. Like I said, it cost me £8,000 to build these stables, and I'm a bargain hunter. I reckon if somebody just went out and purchased all the materials for this building from, let's say, the closest place they could. I travelled 200 miles to buy the roof for this building. If you bought them local, I reckon you would have paid probably £12,000, £13,000. So I'm a bargain hunter, and I try and collect things and get as much stuff as I can for free. But I'm telling you now, some things are expensive, and even wire fencing can be expensive. So always go to auctions and always look out for bargains on Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, Preloved, anywhere. Free ads papers, you name it, look out for all the bargains. And even if you don't need it then, if you've got the money to buy it and you know you're going to need it in the future, then purchase it then. And you'll have it for the future, because sometimes you don't have to get a shock when you find out what things cost. Like one of my viewers just found out that it's going to cost £15,000 to get electricity to his land, because you have to upgrade the transformer. So my electricity costs £6,000 and the water costs £1,400, but yours could cost 10, 20, £30,000, who knows? So you need to find out these things maybe before you even purchase that piece of land. Do a few checks and actually get the electricity board out, or the National Grid, should I say, to do a cost of how much it's going to be to get electricity to your land. That is, if you're going through that way, or you might be going down the actual off-grid route and solar panels with a wind turbine or something like that. But you still need to find out how much those sort of things cost. Another thing is people changing the mind on what they're going to do, like on the farm. They think, oh, well, I'll grow this. And then next thing they're thinking, oh, well, I'll do this. And then the next thing they're thinking, oh, well, I'm going to do this. You need to stick to one thing. So you need to get your mindset focused on what you're going to do. And then once you've got your mind focused on what you're going to do, then you need to master that actual thing. So you can't think, oh, I'm going to grow this produce, and then I'd get halfway through it and then think, oh, I'm going to grow this, or I'm going to grow that. Like, let's say you start growing specialty mushrooms. Well, you need to understand that growing specialty mushrooms is an art in itself, and it's a really good, profitable business to be in, but you need to master it. You don't want to get halfway through growing mushrooms and they're just starting to pop, and then all of a sudden you change your mind and go down a different route. You need to get your mindset on what you're going to do, what animals you're going to raise, what vegetables you're going to grow. Are you going to grow microgreens? Are you going to grow specialty mushrooms? Are you going to go down the poultry route? What route are you going to go down? And you need to stick to it. And once you stick to it, then you need to master it, and you need to read as many books on the subject as you can, watch as many videos on the subject as you can, and just do as much research on the subject as you can, because it's all out there. There's nothing better ever given to mankind than the internet, and everything you need to know is on that internet, and you'll soon find out what you need to know, and you'll master it with a bit of trial and error. Everyone has to have a little bit of trial and error, no matter what you're doing. So, guys, focus on what you want to do and just go for it. Don't change your mind halfway through and go off and do something else. Just stick to that one thing and crack on and do it. Like I say, get your plan in motion and stick to that plan. And that's why it's always a good reason to have a plan. So make sure you have a plan of what you're going to do and when you're going to do it and how long it's going to take to do it. And then once you've mastered that one thing, then move on to something else, and then you can do something else and add that to your small farm also. And another thing is believing if you build it, they will come. So you think, well, if I start a small farm, I'll grow all this vegetables, I'll grow all these microgreens, and people will just buy it from you. Well, it doesn't happen like that, because you need to understand marketing. So that's another thing that people forget about, marketing. And marketing is a huge subject, and there's loads of information on the internet about how to market your products and your produce. Now, it doesn't matter what business you're in, marketing is marketing. So even if you see somebody marketing clothes, there might be tips you can take from that to put towards your small farm. Like me, I set up my website the very first day I knew I was going to breed pure breed poultry. And the reason being is I knew it was going to take a certain amount of time to actually get my stock beds and everything and put them all in the pens and start getting eggs from them. And I understood that Google takes time to rank my website organically. Now, on my website, it's got lovely pictures of some of my birds, but it's also got the SEO optimized on the website. Now, on all the birds, it says sold out, but Google is still ranking my website. And if you typed in fertile, let's say Buff Sussex hatching eggs for sale UK, I'll probably come up number one. And if you typed in chickens for sale in my town, I'll come up number one, because I've been on Google now for a year. Now, it cost me £24 a month to do that. So I've spent about £300 to get my website up to number 1 organically. Now, you will get a lot of phone calls of people saying, we can do this for you, we can do that for you in SEO. Trust me, you can't beat SEO. There's no black hat tactics. You can only do it the way Google wants you to do it, and it's called Google Trust. And once your website's been up for a while, then you'll start ranking organically. Now, you might start a blog, and I would always suggest starting a blog. I started a blog, I haven't done any articles lately, but that blog alone brings me in about £500 a month. And all I'm doing is writing about stories that I've done on my farm and things that are happening on my farm. So you can start a blog also about how you're getting on with your farm, and then eventually when you come to actually wanting to sell your stuff and your produce from your farm, then you can add your shop to your blog, and then you'll be organically ranked for your blog, and then the people who are reading your blog and add to your newsletter, then they might become customers for you. So always start a website from day 1, and we'll talk about that in another video, and I'll tell you the best place to start a website from day 1 and the cheapest place to go. And another thing you need to understand, and that is not believing in yourself and things that you can do around the farm. You need to have self-belief that you are going to grow this farm, because I get down, everybody gets down, everybody has bad days, but you've still got to have that self-belief that you're going to make the farm work. Your small farm is going to work for you, and if you can do that, guys, then you will succeed. Persistence is the key. So you might have a bad day, and then just get up the next day and go for it again, because if you're not persistent, then you'll definitely fail. Persistence is key when it comes to any business. You've just got to keep pushing through, and eventually you will make your small farm work. So just keep going, guys, keep pushing through and keep doing what you need to do to get your small farm to a successful point where you're making a good profit from that. And the last thing I just want to say is just keep learning, guys. Honestly, watch as many YouTube videos as you can around small farming, read as many books as you can around small farming, or blog articles around small farming, but make sure you're learning from your country, because you're in your country. If you're in the UK and you're watching American farming and small farms, or let's say Spanish small farming, or whatever it might be, your culture is totally different. So you need to understand what is going on in the UK and learning everything about UK farming. And this year we've got lots of grants going to be available from the government coming for all sizes of farming, and it could be a good time for people who want to get into farming, because some of these big farms are going to be getting paid out to actually just give up farming. So there might be some land available next to you that you can purchase, because some of these big farms might get better money off you than they will off the government. So you might have a good chance of purchasing a piece of land. But all in all, guys, it's all about learning how to start your small farm, how to get it up and running. Just keep learning. That you always have to keep the knowledge coming in, because if you don't, then you'll just stop and you won't understand the new things and the new technology that's available, or the grants that are available. You've got to always keep reading on the internet, keep learning what's coming out, what's going to be available for you as a small farmer. We'll make videos when these grants are available so I can keep you guys informed. But you've always got to keep learning about what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be doing on your small farm. Anyway, guys, them are some of the biggest mistakes people make when they're going into small farming. And my name's Craig. You've been watching The Small Farmer Life. So until the next video, make sure you take care of yourself, take care of the family, and again, thanks again for subscribing to the channel. Bye for now. You've been watching The Small Farmer Life. And hit that subscribe button. And if you want to watch more videos, hit the bell button. And till next time, see ya.